Welcome to this advanced mandolin lesson on the Irish tune called the Star of Munster. This is a pretty standard session tune in Ireland, but is actually quite a difficult one for us mandolin players. There's a lot of notes, it's all kind of quavers. I feel like this is an easier one for flute and whistle players, but for us mortals with a plectrum, it's quite a tricky one. So I'm going to take you through it. First of all, we're just going to learn the melody. There's a little bit of position shifting in the beat part, which we'll look at, and once we've done that, we'll play the melody through together, and then we'll look at adding some of those traditional Irish ornamentations that kind of give it that Irish feel, especially stealing little techniques from flute and whistle players. But first of all, we'll have a look at the A part, and I should say at this point, all of the tab and music that I talk about today is linked below. It's in a PDF worksheet that is free to download, as all of my free lessons are. And don't forget, YouTube has a slow down function if you press this cog down here, if anything I play today is too fast. So we'll look at the A part first. There's nothing out of the ordinary for advanced players. It's all in first position, all pretty standard right hand, down on the beat, up off the beat. It's quite important. So let's just play it together. That speed. And all of the time, I'm not playing it straight, but I'm not giving it the full hornpipe feel. It's kind of a little middle ground. It's not. That's a bit too far towards hornpipe, but if you play it straight, that's kind of not quite right. So it's an ever so slight hornpipe feel, is how I'm going to be playing it. So we'll try it together. Just have a go, just dive in, just get the music in front of you and have a read. It might take you a few times, and we'll play this round twice. So this is the A part of the Star of Munster, and it'll be after 3. 1, 2, 3. Again. Like I said, nothing out of the ordinary in terms of what finger does what and what the right hand doing, so just keep going back and looping that until you get it right. Looking at the B part, we have a little issue to consider, and this is how the first phrase of the B part is. So if you're watching me close there, if you watch how much my little finger is working there, little finger does not want to do that much work. And especially if you ended up playing this in an Irish session where we'd be playing it at that speed, it really does not want to do that at that speed. So I like to do a little position shift just to make sure I can keep up with the Irish players. So the first note of the B part is an open E, and that's a good opportunity to shift your hand. And I just move down 1 fret. So first finger's now covering 3, second finger's covering 5, and those all-important 7th frets in this phrase are now covered by my 3rd finger. So that first phrase again looks like this. And then at the end of the second bar, we have another open string that I use to get back into the normal position. So it looks like this. Shift. So I use open strings as the moment in time to move the hand back into position. You're more than welcome to not do that position shift. I just find it easier just to get that 3rd finger playing those 7th frets. It just means you can play it quicker. So have a little look in your own time. I've notated where the position shifts are in the tab on the worksheet below. And we'll do what we just did with the A part. We'll have a play of it about the same speed. So it'll be about this speed. And we'll do it twice through. And do try and get those position shifts in. So this is the B part, and don't forget the little pickup from the end of the second time bar. 1, 2, 3. Shift back down. Shift up. Shift back down. And again, shift up. And back down. And up. And back down. And as you may have noticed on that last phrase, I don't really bother shifting because it's a little harder just because there's no kind of obvious open strings to get you up and back down. So now what we need to do is we need to play the whole thing. Just before we play the whole thing, I just want to have a little discussion of my favourite thing, which is a metronome. With a tune like this, it would be very easy, just playing on your own, to learn everything at different speeds. So there's easy phrases. That's kind of not too bad. So you could easily just be forgiven to go, that's not too bad. And then you come to the B part where your hand's shifting up and down, playing 7th frets, which you can't play at that speed. And then you end up slowing down, which is almost as bad as playing completely the wrong notes. You don't want to be playing A part really quick and B part really slow. As soon as you tried that in a jam session, everyone would be completely thrown. So I use one of these, a friendly metronome, and it forces me and hopefully you to not skip past the easy sections, not play them too quick, so by the time you get to the fast sections you can't play at that speed. It's more important that you play everything at the right speed. So for this time playing it through, we're going to play it, and when I have the metronome I have it clicking on the 1 and the 3 of the beat, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Rather than, I don't like it clicking on every beat. I found that's kind of a bit messy, so I just have it clicking on the 1 and the 3. So we're going to do it at 70 BPM, which hopefully you can hear, which is this speed. That's how fast 70 BPM is. If that's too fast, I suggest you just pause this video and just find a speed that works for you. But we're going to do it at 70 BPM. Here we go, after 3. 1, 2, 3. B part. And repeat. And then just on that last phrase, you loop back in. So that's how that all links up. Now we can start adding some ornamentations, and don't forget you can slow that video down if how we just played that was too quick. And the first one I want to look at is the A part, and we can start adding some little grace notes. I did something similar to this in last month's lesson in the Fisher's Hornpipe, so it's kind of a continuation of that, if you'd like to think of it that way. So the first phrase, there's two places there that a whistle player would put little grace note flicks that just sound really, really cool. And we can sort of do them on the mandolin. So in that first bar, when it goes 3rd fret to the 2nd fret, instead of playing straight 3-2, you can play 3-3 and instantly pull off to 2. That's how it sounds. So we don't want... That's too slow. It needs to be almost instantaneous. That's the sound you're going for. And then you can do another one at the start of the second bar when it goes second fret to open. So again, we don't want that, we want... So together that phrase sounds like this. This sounds so much cooler, I think. It's kind of those little flicks that flute players can get in so easily that we have to do really tricky pull-offs. So again, I've notated that on the tab below, and I've done the whole A part with those there's a few different places. You can do a hammer-on one in bar 4. So instead of going 0, 5, 5, 2, 3, I've gone 0, 5, 5, 2, 2 to 3, very quickly, hammer on. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a pull-off, it can be a little hammer on to a note higher than the one you're already at. And then finally in the last bar, I've put in a triplet. So this loops back to the Fisher's hornpipe last month, where instead of picking the triplet, I do a downstroke on the first one of the 3. A pull-off replaces the second one, so this is slightly different to the ones we've just been doing, where you're not going, you're going, it's a bit of a longer pull-off, and then an upstroke on the last one. So it's down, pull-off, up. So the sound you get is da-da-da-da-da is what you're going for. So take a bit of time and get the timing of that right. Just always remember da-da-da-da-da. Not or it's a triplet. That's important because we're going to do a lot of those in the B part. So I'll have a little play. We're not going to worry about the metronome now. I've done the metronome practice, so we're just going to play the A part. Just watch out. I've put a little double stop in bar 1 as well. Just I quite like that sound, that kind of open E. So here's the A part again with some ornamentations, and we'll do it after 3. 1, 2, 3. And again. That's how it sounds. With the B part, I've gone a little triplet crazy. I fully admit that. I've kind of gone to the extreme of how many triplets you could add, and you can, in your own time, in your own version of this, just kind of, you don't have to do all of them. So the B part I've tabbed out sounds like this. It's a little triplet crazy, I admit, but it's kind of good practice because you're now getting 2 triplets in a row. It's kind of good. You can, once you've kind of mastered putting 2 together, you can add loads together. Sounds like you're playing loads of notes, but really you're not. You're just doing a lot of pull-offs. So if we just took the second bar, where it used to be, I've now put 2 triplets for the first 2 beats. So starting on the 5, pulling off to the 3 and picking the open, and then the next one, instead of 5-3, it's 7-3. So just have a little practice of that with the little grace note in bar 1. And once you've got that, you've got the rest of it mastered, because the second one is sort of a similar riff. So yeah, little triplet mad. Have a go at it, and let's play it again. So this will be after 4 and try and get all those triplets in with me. Sorry, this will be after 3. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, hopefully you managed that. I think what we'll do to finish the lesson, we'll play the whole tune again, back with the metronome, and with the kind of ornamentations that we've talked about. After 3. 1, 2, 3. Again. Beep-hop. Beep-hop again. And you carry on round and round until everyone goes home. So that brings to an end our discussion on the Star of Munster. It is a tricky tune. I've been doing it about 70 BPM, but if you were to play this in a proper Irish session, you'd be up kind of 110 BPM. Kind of that speed, so worth kind of slowly cranking the metronome up until you get to about 110, 115, something like that. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. It is a tricky tune, might take you a bit of work, and hopefully you've taken a few tips and inspirations away from this lesson. Please do sign up to the Mando mailing list at mandomike.com and hit subscribe below. We'll see you next month.